Welcome to Krooked Reviews. My name is Krooked, and today I'm going to be reviewing the all-time classic, The Legend of Zelda. For those of you who are new here, or in case you forgot the rules, here's how we get our score. First, we cover the controls of the game. Then we look at the visuals. From there, we go over the general mechanics and replayability of the game, and we'll wrap all that up with how faithful it is to its genre, and give it a final score. For some backstory on The Legend of Zelda, in case you don't know anything about this legendary game or series, while this is the very first game in the series, it actually takes place at the very end of the timeline. The Legend of Zelda starts with Skyward Sword and slowly advances through the games until the timeline splits in Ocarina of Time. In this timeline, during Ocarina, Link is defeated and Hyrule begins to decline after the evil King Ganon is revived, causing the land to fall into despair in the creation of the Dark World. Ganon is eventually sealed away, but breaks free to wreak havoc on Hyrule once again. Also, because this is a 30-year-old game, I'm reviewing it as if you picked it up from your local garage sale and have never played it before, so let's see how it holds up in modern times. The Legend of Zelda is an old-school classic that had a lot it needed to do, with very basic controls. For those of you who aren't familiar with the NES controller, it is very different than the controllers of today. There are 4 buttons and a directional pad, and with Link's numerous abilities that he acquires through his journey, you'd think that it'd be difficult for the game to pull it off, but Zelda does it well. From a secondary pause to switch weapons and items, and being able to put items in whichever slots you prefer, to controls being responsive and easy to learn, it's easy to see why the rest of the Zelda series followed this control scheme. Well, for the most part anyway. For controls, I'm giving The Legend of Zelda a 10 out of 10. If you saw my Spectre of Torment review, I talked a bit about the NES color palette being difficult to work with, and Zelda being an actual NES game, you can see some of this in action. The NES can display 13 different background colors and 12 different sprite colors, but with some trickery, you can max out at 64 different colors. However, at the time Zelda came out, that trickery wasn't really known about. While the backgrounds can seem bland and plain, the enemies do a great job of standing out, and it's pretty easy to tell what's going on the entire time. Compared to other games from that era, Zelda's color palette performs excellently and does look pretty good overall. Matter of fact, out of all the things that I found in the game, I couldn't find a time when I didn't appreciate the colors standing out from each other, and even being bland sometimes. For visuals, I'm giving The Legend of Zelda a 9 out of 10. This is where Zelda really shines. Like I mentioned earlier, you have the ability to put items into specific slots, which always gives you the item you need at the time you need it, and with 2 different pauses, you can either assess your situation, or you can switch your items. When you die, you restart and have the ability to continue your adventure, and there are cool instances where you can bomb walls or set trees on fire to unlock other areas. Items work together and with enemies in unique and interesting ways, and it's fun to explore the overall game because of those mechanics. It also started a brand new sense of adventure for gamers that has went all the way up to today, where even if we see a wall that looks slightly different, we'll bomb it. For mechanics and the long-lasting effect of them, I'm giving The Legend of Zelda a 10 out of 10. The original Legend of Zelda, unlike most modern versions besides Breath of the Wild, you're able to explore and go where you want, when you want, and you're really only limited by your imagination in the path you take. However, this game is horrible if you've never played it before, and if you don't have the map that came with the original game and you don't use a walkthrough. If you are some poor soul who picked up this game thinking it'll be fun and you didn't get the map, you will be spending hours upon hours dying. I don't have the game memorized, and I haven't beaten it before, and it was horrible. I somewhat knew where to go, and after a couple hours of playing, I was so sick of trying to find the next dungeon that I didn't even want to play it again. If you use a walkthrough or map, it does become much more playable and even beatable, but needing outside materials to beat a game is awful, and unfortunately, no matter how hard you try at this, unless you're planning on spending, 6 to 8 weeks on a 10-hour game, you're not really going to be able to beat it. For replayability, The Legend of Zelda is taking a 2 out of 10. The Legend of Zelda is the start of a series that is now 30 years strong. From the very first game to the very latest, the Legend of Zelda games follow a lot of trends that were set by this game. The items you get, the enemies you encounter, the bosses you face, the locations you visit, and even the people you encounter are the same over all the years, and it all began here. In terms of an adventure game, even though others existed prior to Zelda, and at the same time, if you ask a common gamer what the first adventure game is, they're going to tell you it's The Legend of Zelda, and even if they don't tell you that's the first, it will be their favorite. For faithfulness to the genre, because it's not only one of the greatest, but also the creator of this genre, The Legend of Zelda is taking a 10 out of 10. Overall, The Legend of Zelda is a fantastic game, held back incredibly hard by the need of out-of-game materials to play the game fully and enjoy it. However, that aside, it did set a standard for generations and is still regarded as one of the best games of all time. It has been reprinted on every single Nintendo console and handheld in some way, shape, or form, with a very few exceptions, and many gamers are still raising their own kids with this all-time great as their first game like they experienced 30 years ago. Overall, The Legend of Zelda is taking an 8.2. Now, this is actually going to be the first in a series of reviews in the Legend of Zelda series. I'm doing them in order of my least favorite to favorite, and it will alternate with my other reviews. So like this video if you enjoyed it, and let us know in the comments what your thoughts about my review are. Share it with your friends so they can find out more about The Legend of Zelda and what I think about it. And we'll see you guys in our next review. Mamma mia! Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to see another FTN Media video, click the link on the left. If you'd like to see another video from me, click the link on the right. And don't forget to leave my personal channel a sub with the bottom button. Also, don't forget to click the FTN button so you don't miss any of our future videos, and we will see you guys next time.